Hello and welcome to today's Ask an Expert session with Natalie Mepham and also a tiny feeding baby who is hopefully going to stay chill whilst we chat. Natalie is a fitness expert and a sports nutrition specialist, and she is helping women take care of their body and their mind through exercise and nutrition. And now that she is pregnant, she's 20 weeks pregnant, she is helping mamas to be as well and enjoying a fit pregnancy safely and using come on Babs and using fitness and nutrition for mental well-being as well, so for a healthy body and a healthy mind. So we are really pleased to have Natalie join us today and answer the questions that were sent through. So I'm just going to add her on and make sure this little one is comfortable so we can keep the questions going. Hi.
Got there in
So,
the end. Sorry about that.
got there. No worries. And this one has just finished feeding, so hopefully he's going to keep chill now so we can chat.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm currently living in a caravan.
Well, it's amazing how many people try and move house and at the same time as being pregnant. You suddenly realise you want to have everything perfect,
Well,
even if it means you could do it gives you such a deadline. So thank you so much for joining us. I mentioned that you're obviously a fitness and nutrition specialist and that you focus a lot on the benefits of physical activity and good nutrition for mental well-being as well.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Just, I trained as a nutritionist, but really I get a lot of my information from research, and it's such a wide subject and topic that I don't think you can have one opinion on it. You've got to keep your mind open and stuff like that.
I think it's really important to find the right what suits you as well, and not overwhelm yourself with trying to be perfect.
Yes, exactly. It's all individual choice, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So we've had questions sent in covering all of your different areas of expertise. Especially around around benefits for mental well-being for exercise and nutrition. So if I can, if you're comfortable, we can just go through the questions. You can answer them, and then if you've got more information to add to it, then that would be great. Please just go into as much information as you would like.
No worries, that's fine. Sounds good.
So we have this is a specific question from someone from Claire, but we actually get this quite a lot, especially of people who've maybe had not the healthiest nutritional habits before they got pregnant, and then wanting to make better choices now that they're eating for two, and people wanting to start off their day with the right kind of nutrition. So we've got the questions that Claire says, I used to skip breakfast, but now I'm pregnant, I'm trying to eat better. So can you recommend any quick nutritious ideas for breakfast to start off the day in the best possible way for a energy-filled pregnancy?
Yeah, I think a good, especially on the go breakfast, is overnight oats. perfect for making the night before. You haven't got to worry about doing something in the morning. If I'm going out for work, I'll make up some overnight oats, and I've actually got a recipe on my highlights on my page, or I can share it after we finish. But
Yeah,
you
that
know,
would be great. Thank
you
you.
can add fruit, anything, any sort of chocolate, even if you like chocolate in the morning. But another good one is a shake. I find a lot of people that skip breakfast, including myself before I got pregnant, is time. And I think
Yeah,
the quick and easy is always the best course of action. But yeah, overnight
especially
oats
if
is the
it's not
best.
your first baby, if you've got to manage other kiddos and morning routine by the time you've
Yes.
got, especially now we're back to school,
Well, it's
which is,
perfect because once they're in bed, you can make the breakfast, put it in the fridge, and then it's ready in the morning. So it's pretty much perfect for that.
yeah, and it's obviously have a great slow release energy and keep you full for the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
You're
that's
not
it.
just going to be
Yeah,
hitting hitting the treats at 11. Yes, my energy crashed so hard kind of mid-morning when I was, especially in my first trimester.
yeah,
um I was always like ridiculously hungry by like 10:30. I eat breakfast at 8 and then as if I hadn't bothered.
yeah. I know what you mean.
And so and could you batch up a few days worth?
Yeah. So my husband actually makes them a week in advance, and it lasts fine.
Oh,
So he makes a big batch up and puts
that's
it in different
that's really
Tupperwares. Yeah.
organized.
And mainly it's almond milk, oats, protein, and natural yogurt. But we just top it with different things depending on what we fancy on the day. You can always put like raisins or grated apples, really nice. Berries. So it all depends what sort of fruit you like. I made one once with chocolate protein and chocolate chips. So I fancied, sometimes you fancy a bit of chocolate and it just takes that
Scratch
craving
your
away.
bed itch a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, that's super handy. And do you and talking about batching things up, do you have any meal prep tips? Because that's a pretty common situation, especially if you get tired later in the day, or if you're getting if you don't, if you've got a period when you feel okay to touch food. Like I couldn't go like preparing any meat or eggs or anything in the evenings. That's when I got really my most nauseous, and so I
Yeah.
guess I really struggled to make anything other than something that something. I ended up eating my main meal earlier in the day, but I would have done better to kind of batch up some food. So, any meal prep options that you can recommend?
Yeah, I think before I got pregnant, I was so good at meal prepping, having everything. My lunches were ready for the day, for the whole week ahead. It takes a bit of time, but obviously when I got pregnant, I realised that I couldn't really do it because every day I fancied something different, or I'd batch cook some chicken recipes and then I didn't fancy chicken. So I think obviously now I'm in the second trimester, and and I do like the bit of routine again. So I think you have to set aside a bit of time. That's the only thing. And when there's more than one child to look after, it can be quite tricky. So some things I do to save time when it comes to batch cooking is if you eat meat, I will cook like a whole chicken and then I'd shred that, and that will last me a few days, and I'd add veg to it that I want, or rice, potato, whatever you fancy carb wise. But I just generally would have a lot of veg. The other thing that I don't know if you've seen them in Tesco or any supermarket, you can get them. They're called in a bag. So you bake different meat or fish and potato vegetables, and you just bake it in the oven. That's another really good tip for batch cooking for the week. But I do recommend prepping. Just find that hour to prep your meals. It will stop you from picking and snacking at the wrong things if you're keen to follow a nutritious diet. Definitely.
I guess you've been just taking a bit of time to like write it out, so you're not staring at the cupboard going, "What am I going to eat? What shall I?"
Yeah, you've before you go shopping, you've got to think, right, what am I going to have for the week, or what do I fancy? Quite a bit what I fancied like the last few weeks has been a salad, real refreshing salad
Oh, that's
with
handy.
with quick cook steaks, the turkey steaks. They're so quick. and easy. They take a couple of minutes. So it all depends what you like, really. But yeah, batch cook if you can.
That's and do you have any recipes that you've got on your page or your YouTube channel that people could use to follow?
Yeah, again, if you look at my page, I have got some maybe a bit further down when I've done some lunch prep ideas on there.
Okay, well, we will link those through, so we've got, a place that we can recommend.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. And we've had a very common message that we get sent is people who when they become pregnant, they, especially if you're used to looking a certain way or feeling a certain energy level or being able to work out a certain way of lacking confidence as a result, and sort of losing that sense of who you are and what you're your usual routine, and it's not a reflection on not wanting to be pregnant, just kind of losing your sense of self. And yes, I had one of our queries was around using positive affirmations, and whether you had whether you'd recommend this or if you've got any other advice that you can offer.
Yeah, I think this is something that I've had personally as well. I don't think you can feel guilty about having those feelings. It's really normal and natural. I don't necessarily use affirmations, but for that, but I have used them for other things in my life. In regards to feeling positive, if you're setting up the day that way, I'd try and make sure you're doing them in the mirror. And that might sound a bit silly, but talk to yourself. Tell yourself that tell yourself those positive affirmations and try and listen and take it in that way.
Not just say it and like tick that off the list.
Or just think, oh, I'm going to do that, and then say it in your head. Actually talk to yourself, talk in the mirror at yourself, and have those positive thoughts.
And is there any other quick tips to add to a routine? Because it sounds like a really nice thing to do that doesn't take up very much time as well when we're all so pressured, and spending 5 minutes in the shower and when you're getting ready.
Even if you're brushing your teeth, you're not necessarily saying it, but you're thinking it and looking at yourself. And if you're struggling for time, just try and if you're traveling to work as well, use that time to do that. When I was traveling, I go out on inspection every now and again, and I went out on Wednesday, and I used that time to do my breathing techniques. And I forgot my glasses, and I was a little bit stressed about it, and I just took 5 minutes, turned everything off, and just done my breathing techniques. And there's nothing I can do about it now. I need to go, and I'm an hour down the road. So it's just about just taking a step back and just thinking about how you can change your mindset.
Well, I mean, yes, those both sound like really great tips. And is there any information about breathing techniques that we can link to on your Instagram or YouTube at all? Or?
Yes, so I've done a post recently about techniques that I use and what's really worked and that have really worked for me lately. So that's on there that I can link to you.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you. Yes, it's I think many people have heard people mention these things, but actually having some specifics, that I think that's really something that you can just try and give it a go for a week. If it doesn't work for you, don't do it again. But it's worth trying at least.
Yeah, I think it's like meditation. People say once they get started on it, they really find the benefits. But it's just finding that time, isn't it? But I find with breathing techniques, if you use it during periods of when you're feeling stressed or anxious, it really makes such a difference.
Well, and it's free. You might as well try. And sometimes just having some tools, some things to try can make you feel a little bit more in control again. So then, because it's when you just end up starting to feel a bit hopeless.
Yeah, definitely.
And have you got any, in that vein, any tips for managing anxiety? It's something that comes up regularly as well. With mums who, especially when they get pregnant and their hormones, and you start thinking about something else, something really precious to worry about. That anxiety, if you're susceptible to it before, it can maybe increase, or it might be something that's been new for you, and suddenly you've got all of this these feelings that you don't really know how to cope with?
I think initially it's about accepting that it's okay to feel anxious, and I think we try so hard to get out of it that we end up getting more anxious. I know it sounds silly, but just accepting for the minute, maybe write down what it is that's making you feel like that, talk it out with somebody. Sometimes, you know, when I get anxious, I don't really know what it is. I just have this overwhelming feeling of anxiety, and it just sometimes it just comes on for no reason. You don't know what it is. And again,
And I
that's when
guess not feeling bad if that happens, like
yeah,
recognizing that it's
yeah,
not because you're weak or because you're feeling, or that you're not grateful to be pregnant or happy or anything, but that you can recognize that you can be both. That being anxious is not a weakness or a fault; it's just
no.
something to manage.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just, again, it's just accepting that that's how you feel. And I'll quite often say to my husband, oh, I feel really anxious. And he'll say, "What? Why?" And I said, to be honest, I really don't know. I just feel that overwhelming feeling. And like, we just talk it out, or, and again, I'll just do my breathing. That's really, I can't say it enough how much that's helped me over the last few weeks. Really just be level. So I'd definitely recommend it.
Well, will definitely share your post on that because, yeah, why not try it if it
Yeah,
helps?
exactly.
Even
Yeah.
just to alleviate it, not to say it's going to magically take it away, but just to alleviate that feeling of pressure and lack of control around it too.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We want things to get better completely, or we don't want it to come back, but we have to just accept that sometimes
Yeah,
we get a bit
it's not
low,
a
or
magic wand,
yeah.
but it's a yeah. No, well, yeah, I've not tried it myself, but I will definitely try that as what when you share it because I think especially with a new baby and I've got a 3-year-old who's bouncing around in the other room and
Oh,
um, the worries I have about being as good a mum, being a good mum to him, being a good mum to the baby, making
yeah,
sure that everyone's happy, that we get enough time, that sometimes you just feel so overwhelmed and you do kind of start to, you can recognize that your breathing can be quite shallow because you're getting a bit panicky and you're tired and you're hormonal. So I think just a few easy tools,
yeah,
not
definitely.
not just to sink into overwhelm.
Yeah,
So we've had the a few regular. I've had a few questions in the same vein of around um, feeling self-conscious when going to the gym and having especially been out of gyms and classes for a long time and now that they're opening up, if you're getting a lot out of them, if you got a lot out of them before you were pregnant,
yeah.
um, wanting to get back to that, but feeling self-conscious or ungainly, not all spaces are very welcoming to pregnant women and um, what you would any ideas around like having a how to um, overcome those feelings.
I think gym anxiety is really common, especially like you said, if you've not been going for a long time. You sort of think, I did it when we went back. I was like, oh, I feel really anxious. I don't even know why. But one thing I will say is no one is paying attention to what you're doing. I think you think that everyone's looking at you, but really they're not. Everyone's just there to do what they want to do. And I think try and have that in the back of your mind. There's a stigma, isn't there, around women training while pregnant?
Absolutely,
And
it's so
there's, yeah,
important to not let that put you off.
no, and we all know what our limits are. We all have our boundaries, and what I might be able to do might be very different to what somebody else can do. That, but ultimately, we are by training. It's keeping the baby and us healthy. So that's just keep that in the back of your mind. If you haven't been to the gym for a long time and you're anxious about starting, download download something on your phone to put your headphones in and just to get on the treadmill and watch your program, forget about everything that's going on around you, and just get used to being back in that environment again. Sometimes it's just about getting used to being in that room, not necessarily going there to get a really good workout in, but just getting used to that feeling again.
Feeling safe there and
Yeah,
not like you don't belong.
Yeah, and getting used to your surroundings, because that's initially the most important thing, I would say.
Yeah, that's really good advice and really easy, something to easily get on board with. Just think, okay, stay for 10 minutes, watch this YouTube video and see how you feel, and then
Yeah,
go from there.
yeah. And then you might feel more confident to go and do something else. But if you don't, just watch something else and just do something, and then you'll feel much better. It'll get easier.
Mm. And get that routine back of getting into the gym,
Yeah, yeah.
being in that space. And you've continued with CrossFit training in your um, pregnancy. How long have you been doing that for? And it it just seems to be one of those one of those things that is um, what causes a lot of divide in opinions around whether women should continue to do CrossFit programs when they're pregnant. And what have you received any negative opinions, and what advice would you have for somebody who wants to continue with their CrossFit sessions?
Um, I I have I get asked questions mainly around lifting heavy. Um, Obviously with CrossFit it's very high intensity, but generally I've just swapped out things that you can't do, like, you know, your core, like your abs and stuff like that. I've carried on with core, but just not with my abs. I have had a comment asking me if the baby was all right after I finished a workout once, but I was just like, yeah, he's fine and I'm fine, and you know. I think it's getting more. I think where CrossFit's getting quite big now, you're seeing a lot of high-end athletes training through their pregnancy. I think it's getting more and more common that you see it, but people have their comments, don't they? And I think it's just about putting that to the back of your mind. I always seek advice if I'm not sure about something. Obviously I'm not a professional, I'm not trained in prenatal fitness training, unfortunately, but I know somebody that is, and if I'm not sure about a movement or something, I'll just check with her. But again, you know what your boundaries are, you know how far you can push yourself. So
and is there is your have you been fortunate to be in an environment where the class is quite supportive of you being there as well?
oh,
I think that makes
massively.
quite a
I
big
think with
difference.
CrossFit it's very much like a community.
I
So
think
everyone,
that's one of the reasons that people really do want to be able to continue doing it, because of community um, that community uplifting that comes with the class.
yeah, and I think everyone's just there just to get a good workout. And I think it was beginning of last week, I went and I ended up crying halfway through a workout, and I
Oh,
just was so emotional, because it's about accepting that I am not at the fitness level that I was, and with good reason I'm not. But it is hard when you're not as good as you were,
yeah.
and everyone was like, "Are you okay?" and was really supportive and just patted me on the back and said, "Right, come on, keep going," and I did. But I think being in that environment with people that around you that are all doing the same thing, I definitely recommend it. And the coaches know what they're doing as well. So,
And I guess the the bigger impact could be for you for not being there. You know, if you
yes,
are, if actually it's quite a key component to your feelings of mental well-being and feeling strong and healthy in your pregnancy, and getting that social interaction when we're working from home much more now, and there's been so many restrictions on us.
yeah,
Um, we do, if that's what brings you joy, that's important as well.
yeah, it is, and it makes me happy. So, you know. Is that normality? It's that bit of a break from normality, from life when you're going to the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to look to what's going to lift you up most, and a happy mum's got, you've got that. That's, it's not, you're never going to do anything that's going to put your baby at risk.
No.
He's, he's obviously your number one priority. So,
Yeah.
but you know your own body and your own strength.
That's exactly it.
So, um, what if you've got three pieces of advice to mums to be struggling with increased anxiety in pregnancy around nutrition and exercise or just losing their sense of self, what would that be? What would you give to what would you say to yourself now that you're pregnant that you would have done before you, as you were, before at the beginning of your pregnancy?
I think it's just a difficult one because I'm still sort of fighting with myself a little bit as well. So I think just don't be hard on yourself. In regards to nutrition, I quickly learned that the things that I would normally eat went straight out the window. I think you just have to eat with what your baby wants you to eat, ultimately. I just massively went onto needing carbs, but so I made sure that I got some different healthier snacks in rather than going for the crisps or something like that. So get yourself some rice cakes and some healthier snacks. In regards to I think when we look in the mirror and our bodies start changing, I think it's really hard, and I admit that, and I'm not. I think you've just got to be honest with yourself and others and just say, look, I'm struggling. It's hard to see your body change, and I don't be hard on yourself about that. And that's the biggest thing. I think you hear all the positive things, but you don't necessarily hear when you're feeling low or you feel guilty for feeling certain ways. Don't feel guilty. I'm not sure if I answered the question there, did I?
No, I think that's really useful. I think just and if you could do one workout, one piece of physical activity,
I think set yourself some targets in regards to training. Get out for a walk at least 3 times a week. Maybe pick your same route if you want to increase. See how long it takes you. It's all right. No, it's all right. It's not at all. Maybe walk the route a bit faster or try and do one workout a week if you don't want to go to the gym. The positive thing about the lockdown was the amount of live workouts people were doing, and on your page as well, there's loads of workouts to follow. Maybe just set yourself a target of doing one of those a week, just a little something rather than putting yourself down.
Even like a really achievable target that you can feel pleased that you did it.
Yeah. I think start your targets lower and then just build them up. I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. So you definitely can't fail and then feel bad about not reaching your reach.
Exactly, because that just brings on other anxieties about failing, and you don't want that.
No, do something and also make sure that you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think remembering that that you work out, it's a bit of a cliche, but work out because you love your body, not because you hate it.
Yes. And do it for other things like your anxiety and your confidence and your mental health rather than just about, because now I'm training for me, having that mental release rather than doing it for that physical appearance, because I'm growing a baby and there's, I'm not going to have the physical appearance that I might want. It's not about that
the
anymore.
abs will come back, but they're definitely not. They're going to be sacrificed right now.
Yeah.
That's really helpful, and thank you for offering so much tangible advice, because something that can be followed and people can try and do something that's specific rather than it's very easy just to kind of give platitudes, but really appreciate how candid you've been and the really specific things that people can go and have a try, and recognizing that it's normal to feel this way and that there are tools, exercise, nutrition can really help. But there's other things you can do to help enjoy your healthy, active pregnancy.
Yeah.
We have a workout with you that's going to be live on Sunday. So, yes, go and give that. Then that will be live. That will be live, but be saved on the page and obviously indefinitely. So we'll go and try a workout and see the benefits.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it, and it was nice to chat.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, and look forward to the session on Sunday.
Yeah, great. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.